I am the Chief of Food Inspection within the Division of Food Safety. And today we're going to do a public workshop on Rule 5K-4.0010 and 5K-4.020. And please, we ask that everyone stay muted the whole time, just so everyone can hear. And along with that, please keep your cameras off. This is going to be recorded, so we ask that everyone keeps their camera off as well. So a little bit of background before we begin. This rule development was published on June 14th, 2021 in the FAR, volume 47, number 114. And the purpose for today, for this rulemaking, is going to be to establish definitions for inspect, charitable food organizations, large food charities, and small food charities, as well as to reduce permit fees for large food charities and to eliminate food permit fees for small food charities. And the impact is going to be the annual permit fees for small food charities will be reduced to $0, and large food charities will be reduced to $130 annually. So we posted the notice of rule development. It can be found on this link. And I apologize, the wrong agenda was sent out in some of your invites. So I have this agenda, and I'll provide my email address. If anyone would like a copy of this agenda, please email me and I can send you this agenda today. And so what we want to do today we're going to receive any comments on any of the proposed changes for today. And any supporting data or information you would like to submit regarding this proposed rule development, please submit that to us and we will take that into consideration as we move forward. As we said, this workshop is going to be recorded. Please stay on mute the entire time. We'll go through how to submit comments in a minute, but please, for the sake of everyone being able to hear, we're not going to take any verbal comments. Everything's going to be written. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each section one at a time. I will read the changes and then we'll take any comments at all. And then once we stop receiving comments, we'll close that section and we'll go to the next section until we're through the whole thing. And there's two ways you can do it. You can submit it in the comment section of this box, and we can read through it one at a time as we receive it. If you're able to, please include your name and affiliate group along with your comment in case we need to follow up or kind of get an idea of who's submitting the comment. And then I'll read that out loud for the record as well. And then to give some more time to kind of process the changes, and if you'd like to submit any comments later, we're going to keep this open for 1 week. So if you want to submit your comments after today's workshop, you can email me directly. It's chris.hilliard@fdacs.gov, chris.hilliard, HILLIARD, @fdacs.gov. And then anything that you email me about those comments, we'll make a part of the official record as long as the record's open. It's going to be open for 1 week, so it'll be closed 5:00 p.m. Eastern time on July 6th, 2021. And then one last thought before we begin is we understand that there's all kinds of questions and comments out there. We're happy to answer those questions and comments. However, for today's workshop, please keep comments focused on the content of the proposed changes. Anything in addition to that, you're welcome to email us or call us separately and we'll answer any other questions you might have. So with that, we will begin the workshop. And so the way this works is the proposed rule, anything underlined is new. That's going to be an addition, proposed addition. Anything that's marked through is going to be a proposed redaction. And anything that's not underlined or marked through is existing rule text. So that's kind of how you read this proposed rule. So section 0010 is our definitions for 5K4, all of our definitions. So the only change is going to be this new definition of inspect, and I'll read it to you guys. Inspect means to examine or employ common investigatory techniques, including but not limited to physical inspections, note-taking, taking photographs, or questioning personnel, to determine compliance with section 581.217, chapter 500 Florida statutes, and any rule adopted thereunder. So before we go on, are there any comments about this proposed change to 0010? And I'm going to switch back to the main screen so I can read the comments. And Nikki was kind enough to share my email in the chat box if anyone would like to copy that. So we'll wait just a little bit of time for any comments. If we don't have any, then we'll move on to the next section.
I missed that last question due to a connection error.
The last question.
Yes, about inspection.
Oh, let me share my screen again. I'll show you that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure. Okay, so you can read it here on my screen, the new definition for inspect.
Means to examine, employ common investigatory techniques, physical inspection, note-taking, or questioning personnel to determine compliance. It's kind of broad right there. I don't have no problem with that. So I'm pretty transparent in my operations, but I'm sure there's some issues there.
Okay, and please, for the record, we asked any comments. Would you go ahead and enter them written into the type box and go ahead and remain on mute so we can have a written comment in the type box.
Hey, Chris, this is Matt. That's a question for Alan Charles. Is Alan on the line?
Okay, we'll be sure. We'll get that question to Alan and let him take that into consideration. I'm going to switch back to the main screen so I can read some comments. Okay, we got a question from Scott Burgett. Would it be useful to add sampling to the definition? Thank you for your comment. We will take that into consideration as well. Okay, not seeing any other comments. We'll open it up at the very end for any additional comments, but not seeing any other comments right now. We'll go ahead and move to the next section. Okay, so section 5K-4.020 is all about food permits, requirements, and fees. So a couple of new additions to this as well. We have 1C is a charitable food organization. It's an entity that is properly registered as a charity as defined in section 496.404 Florida statutes and has submitted annual forms pursuant to the requirements of section 496.405 Florida statutes and engages in food activities included under chapter 500 Florida statutes. And these three additions are all related. So I'm going to read through all three and we'll take comments as a group. We have a large food charity, which is a charitable food organization that qualifies for fees under section 496.405 4A2 Florida statutes through 496.405 4A7 Florida statutes. And then we have small food charities. It's a charitable food organization that qualifies for fees under section 496.405 4A1 Florida statutes. So I'll leave my screen up for a little bit longer so everyone can read it, and then we'll switch to see if there's any comments. Okay, we have one question from Melissa Villar. What is the purpose of large and small various fees? I can speak to that briefly. We in our rule, there's no consideration for a food charity or a charitable food organization that's providing food at reduced cost, or not for profit organizations. So we wanted to create a way for them to be able to operate and still exist under food safety regulations, however, not be subject to the full permit fees that for-profit organizations are subject to. And a question from Shahira Bradshaw: how do food charity apply for permits? They would apply like any other food establishment. If their operations are under Chapter 500, you would submit an application and go through the application process like any other establishment. It's just the permit itself would be a different type.
Hey, Chris, this is Matt. I'll just add to that, and I apologize if you covered this, but charities have to be registered with the department through our Division of Consumer Services as well, and that's where the designations for large and small comes in. So anyone applying for a food permit as a charity would have to already be registered properly with the department through the Division of Consumer Services as a charity.
Yes, that's correct. And then a question from Jeff Green: would a charity distributing hemp based on food need a hemp permit in addition? And that's a good question. But anyone carrying hemp food products would still have a hemp designation on their food permit. So you would have both. It would be permitted as a food charity, and then there would still be a hemp designation on that permit. Okay, any more questions on those new additions before we go to the next section? One more question from Shahira Bradshaw. I'm a 501c3 and would like to register, and I am not clear on the actual process of applying. So we are happy to assist you in that process. If you have any specific questions, it's like any other food establishment, and we have a pretty streamlined process for that. But if you have any questions, you can call us up for your establishment specifically, and we can walk you through the application process. But the short version is you submit an application. If you meet all our requirements, we come out and give you a permit. So it would be like any other food establishment at that point. But please call us if you have questions, and we can walk you through that. Okay, we will go to the next section. We have section 3 here, enforcement. And the new addition, proposed addition, is going to be: a food establishment should not be considered a large food charity or small food charity for purposes of fees in this rule unless properly registered pursuant to section 496.405 Florida statutes, and will be subject to fees as outlined in this rule based on food activities conducted at the establishment. And then I'll scroll down because the next section is applicable to this as well. We have a large food charity. It's going to be $130 annually for the food permit. And then the last addition is going to be a small food charity, and that's going to be a 0 permit fee. And I'll scroll back up to this language to give you time to read it. And once again, we're going to keep comments open for another week. So if there's any other comments that you think of after we close today's workshop, please feel free to email me and add that. So, okay, I'm going to come back to the main screen.
Hey, Chris, this is Matt. Did Alan Charles ever log in? All right, thanks, Chris.
Okay, so I don't see any more comments on that section. So we'll take any last comments for anything we covered this morning in the chat box. Any last thoughts? And again, my email is in the chat box further up, chris.hilliard@fdax.gov. If you'd like a copy of this agenda with the language in it, we can send that to you. Any other comments, please email me. Sahira Bradshaw, if you can email me a request so I can get your email, I'll happy to send that to you. chris.hilliard@fdax.gov. Yes, that's correct. chris.hilliard@fdacs.gov. And one last question. Is this resource guide accessible or be provided to workshop participants upon request? If you mean the agenda from today, then yes, I can send that to you. I'm happy to send that to you. If you email me and just ask for it with your email address, I'll be happy to respond. Okay, and Willie Rosario, if you send me your email address, I'm happy to send one to you, the agenda to you. Okay, seeing no more comments, we will go ahead and end today's workshop, but please, this is open till 5 p.m. Eastern time till next Tuesday, July 6th.